forsaking the assembling of yourselves together. We thought we understood what that meant. But in the last 3 years, since the time of COVID, now we really see another side of that verse. You see, the scripture was telling us we need the fellowship of one another. Because in the fellowship, strength is provided. You can't explain it. You can't understand it really very clearly. But when somebody's not there, it weakens you. But when someone is there, without saying a word, they strengthen you. Well, you see, the other scripture said in the book of Timothy, perilous times. And another word for perilous times is dangerous. You see, the day that we have stepped into is a dangerous day. It's a day that's after your walk with God, after your relationship with God. It's a dangerous day. Perilous times shall come, it says. But I'm here to tell you, with everything being shaken, there is a foundational shaking that can only exist, will only prevail if you're on the rock. Money's not the answer. Family's not the answer. People are not the answer. The foundation, the rock. The rock as your foundation is the answer. Tonight, no matter where you watch me from, if you'll get that rock in your foundation, that rock is sure. That rock is hope. That rock is the way. Hey, there is a way. There is a way, and his name is Jesus. Right now, no matter where you may be, just go ahead and say, Lord, I make you my foundation. Lord, I make you my foundation. Lord, open my eyes that I can see into your kingdom. My ears that I can hear what the Spirit saith unto the church. Some of you have been experiencing a warfare of another level that you may not understand. As I was praying about tonight's service and waiting on the Lord brought my mind back to the book of Exodus, where when it became time for Moses to be born, Pharaoh decided that he would kill all the male children. Male Hebrew children. Anytime God is birthing greatness, there's always a warfare to stop the greatness. We also recognize that when it was time for Jesus to be born, the king did the same thing and tried to kill that greatness before it came into its greatness. I've noticed that when prophets and great ministers are born into families, there always seems to be a battle. You don't understand the child that's being born, but you understand the warfare, and then it takes time, sometimes 20, 30, 40 years, and then you see what was being birthed, what was being fought for. In the hour that we have stepped into, God is allowing the warfare to battle us. In the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter and the 12th verse, my media team right now is scrambling. About the middle of the verse, I always call it B. The scripture says, "Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, for the devil has come down with great wrath, because he knows he has but a short time." You see, God allows the enemy to battle because it makes greatness to be birthed. I remember the words of my mentor, my mother, my pastor. She would use the word pansy-whamsy right here. God's not looking for pansy-whamsy. That means God's not looking for weaklings. See, no matter what Pharaoh was going to do, God had made a way. God had a plan. Just like his foundation is sure, his plan is sure. You may change, go from plan A to plan B to plan C. But God's plan, there is no plan B. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are like the heavens above the earth. That's how much higher his ways. That's how much more precise his ways.
God is looking for somebody that will dare to believe.
I challenge you tonight, dare to believe God. As I've preached recently in the past, the revelation of, Lord, set me free from my carnal mind. Your carnal mind wants to stop you from believing God. But God is looking for someone that will dare to believe him. Will you tell God tonight, I'll be one of those that dares to believe you? You see, you have to decide if you're going to be the one to believe. The scripture says broad is the way. See, there are a lot of people who won't fight the battle. They'll just go on off in mediocrity. I heard Dr. Gustav say recently, the enemy of greatness is good. Do you know, if you don't decide you are going to be the one to believe God, the enemy is not going to give it to you. But there is a people. Yes. In the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter, in the 2nd verse, here I'm going to go be again. There was a great people. Put it up there for me. You don't have to cut it. A great people and a strong. Yes. You see, tonight, there's greatness in you if you're hearing this. And God is trying to birth that. God's got a plan. If you will allow God to move in your life, if you will allow God to break the chains of your carnal mind and set you free from that, dare to believe him. As I spoke on Sunday morning a few moments about the water changed wine, think about what it took for the servant to bring a cup of water to the master of ceremonies. But the servant was under this. Mary said, do whatever he said. So she brought a cup of water. The servant brought the cup of water. When did it happen? Did it happen when they dipped? Did it happen when he said, fill them up? Or did it happen on the walk to the master of ceremonies? Or did it happen when he put his lips? Let me ask you this. When Jesus walked to the cemetery or the graveyard where Lazarus was, when did it happen? Somebody said it happened when he prayed. Yes. But did it manifest before they rolled the stone away? When did it manifest? God is looking for somebody to believe. Go ahead. You don't have to worry about when it manifests. When you decide you are going to be the one. Hey, that's when you've reached into what God has. That's where you reach into this day and what this day is meant to bring. You see, this day couldn't have happened in the 70s. It couldn't have happened in the 50s. But it happened when our world was shaken, when everything that can be shook, a people decided, I will be what God's looking for. In the 2nd chapter of the book of Exodus, Moses' mother and father decided to build a little ark. Something to float in the water. It was against the law for him to live. It was endangering their household. Come on now, you probably read real lightly over the top of it. Little do you understand, the household was in danger of being killed. But God had a plan. Somebody was building a boat that had never built a boat, probably the first boat they had ever built. The only pitch I've ever seen was black tar that was on the roof, and it messed my clothes up when I worked with it. I remember them throwing my clothes away. And they were about to put their newborn baby in amongst the pitch. But God was looking for somebody to dare to believe him. My plan, your plan, we would have said, keep the baby quiet. But God's plan was the baby to cry. They put the baby in the untested boat. And just at the wrong time, when the king's daughter got close, the baby cried. His sister, you remember, she stood afar off watching to see what would happen. I'll tell you, what she didn't really understand was she had an eye saying, Lord, I want to see into your kingdom. Hebrews would later say he would see him who was invisible. I dare you tonight to say, God, I want to see the invisible. Open my eyes that I can see into your kingdom. Open my eyes so I can declare the greatness of your presence, the greatness, life-changing presence that I've seen. As the writer of Hebrews, the 11th chapter, said that he seen who was invisible, it was Miriam who told him what happened. I believe a lot of us give Miriam a little trouble because she got out of line some point, someplace, but it had to be Miriam who said, just at the wrong time, Moses, you were crying. I seen it. I told Mama, everything went well until the king's daughter got close. And at the exact wrong time of the carnal mind, Moses cried. Oh, by the way, Mom, that's how you got a lifetime job with a lifetime blessing. Dare to believe God and watch how God will move. Joel said, it was a great people and a strong. God is looking for a people that if they will allow him to be God, he will make them strong and great in him. You see, I will be like Paul, and I will tell you that is living in this day, the things that have happened unto us or befallen unto us have befallen unto us for the greatness of the kingdom, for the furtherance of the kingdom. He said, Paul said, brethren, the things which have happened unto me are for the furtherance of the gospel. I want you to understand what you have experienced. The shaking you have endured is not meant to destroy you, but rather to make you great with God. Make you stand in a place if you'll dare to believe him. Media team, I believe that's Philippians 1:14. My last two services, I preached and taught about stepping into the unlimited of God. Early this morning before daylight, about 5:30, I reckon it was, the Lord began to deal with me about the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, the 8th chapter, the 19th verse. In years past, we've seen great miracles happen. People get out of wheelchairs. Never forget the little lady who had been in a wheelchair for 20 years. We were on the Indian reservation just outside Gallup, New Mexico. They rolled the little lady to the front. She was a native Indian and she didn't speak English. But the interpreter that we were using had explained the message we were preaching, that Jesus was a healer. After 20 years of being in the wheelchair, she had her family roll her up to the front. I'll never forget, it was right over here on this side. Our right, the audience left. She got up out of that wheelchair and walked and pushed the wheelchair out. Seen her for the rest of that revival, seen her in some other revivals, I believe 2 other revivals after that, still walking and declaring. And when she went home to be with the Lord, she was still walking and declaring the mighty works of God. This morning while I was in prayer, the Lord was ministering to me and he said, you have seen wheelchairs and eyesight type miracles. He said, but what I'm going to do in this last day is I'm going to deal with supernatural miracles. Get ready for people to alter time. You're not just going to see water turn to wine, but you'll see when it's necessary, people will stop the heavens from rain. Then they'll call rain. Yes, and people will walk the water. You get ready. When this scripture has been read before, we didn't quite understand it or see it, but the books have been opened, and now we're seeing what Daniel was spoke when the scripture tells us, seal up the books. The books have been opened again. So let me give you a hint. When Paul was writing this scripture, notice it says the manifestation of the sons of God. What that really means or alludes to is the relationship. The manifestation of the ones with the relationship with God. You see, now that he is beginning to reveal, you'll really recognize your walk with God is more important than you've ever understood. But if you will continue to work on that relationship with him, walk close to him. Do you know, I know so many people that are looking for an excuse to miss church services. It's the spirit of the hour. We're in the falling away. But I challenge you for that relationship with God that will bring you into a place where the supernatural is just another day with God. Go ahead. Lord, break the chains of my carnal mind. You see, God not only wants to set you free from your carnal mind, but your carnal mind will dupe you into covering you back again. But the relationship will break the chains, and you never have to go back. Ha. I was talking to a friend of mine who was overseas, and he was in a bad place, and I don't want to call the country. But he said to me, the guards were following me. They were pretending they weren't watching me, but the guards were following me as I was walking through the shopping area. Said they followed me everywhere I went. When I got time to go, when it got time to turn where the underground church was, said I didn't want to give away. Didn't want to bring danger to those other people, believers. And he said to me, I believe God made me invisible. He said the guards began to look for me, and I was standing right there. And he said, I can't tell this to everyone, son. He said, but I'll tell you, because he said, I know you won't make fun of me. He said, I believe God made me invisible. He said, and they walked on down the street without me. And when they were gone, he said, then I turned around and went to the church. See, you need that relationship. Manifestation of the sons of God is really the manifestation of those that are in relationship with him. They haven't made God their religious item. They haven't made God their way to get rich. They're in relationship with him. I challenge you tonight. It is time for the manifestation of the sons of God. It's never been like anything you've ever thought. But God has got a plan. Hey, and though the enemy may come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will raise a standard. And those in relationship with him will understand. Oh, my goodness. Didn't you read the scripture that said, none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Go ahead. That's those that are in relationship with him. Lord, I want to be the manifestation of the sons of God. I want to step into the supernatural place where you're pleased with. Lord, what's in your mind? What's in your plan? What is your will? That's what I want to do, Lord. Why don't you get up out of your seat, make your way down this altar, and tell God, I want to be in the manifestation of the sons of God. Lord, I want to be what you want me to be. Move in my life. Change me. Go ahead right now, no matter where you may be, go ahead and call on him. Call upon him while he is near. He is a responder. God is a responder. God is a responder. God is a responder.
So I can stand when all else fails me. So I can walk on the stormy seas. And when I'm going through the darkest valley, you were there with me. Increase my faith so I can stand when all else fails me. So I can walk on the stormy seas. And when I'm going through the darkest valley, you were there with me. Increase my faith so I can stand when all else fails me. So I can walk on the stormy seas. And when I'm the stormy seas. And when I'm going through the darkest valley, you were there with me. Oh, oh, increase my faith so I can stand when all else fails me. I can walk on the stormy sea. And when I'm going through the darkest valley, you were there with me. Thank you for joining us tonight by internet. Pray you are blessed, encouraged, and ministered to. We'll be back again Sunday morning at 9:45. We love you. God bless you. So I can stand when all else fails me. So I can walk on the stormy sea. And when I'm going through the darkest valley, you were there with me. Increase my faith so I can stand when all else fails me. So I can walk on the stormy sea. And when I'm going through the darkest valley, you were there with me. I throw my weakness into your greatness. You make me whole again. I throw my weakness into your greatness. You make me whole again.